The workers that helped save the Gulf Coast after the Deepwater Horizon disaster are now developing illnesses that they say is a direct result of the work they've performed. The companies responsible, well, they don't want to help them, even though these workers did their dirty work to clean up their ugly, ugly disaster. BP, it's fine with them just to let these folks die without any kind of compensation. It's an ugly story, isn't it, Farron?
It is, and this is one, obviously, for both of us for so many reasons. It hits close to home. I mean, literally hit close to our homes here where we're at. And of course, you and your firm, you handled the cases against BP and got this done. And now, all these years later, now we have these cleanup workers who were trucked in every morning, every day on my way into the office here. I would pass the truckloads of cleanup workers. These were low-income people. A lot of them were Vietnamese fishermen who were out of work. They were out there with their hands, touching this stuff, moving it, dealing with the Corexit that was poured by the barrelful into the Gulf of Mexico, absolutely getting poisoned the entire time. And they knew nothing of it. BP was running their slick PR campaigns at the time as these people were inhaling these chemicals, letting it seep into their skin, not knowing how bad it would be. You know, what are we, 13 years later now?
Right.
And now they've got these sicknesses, which they're all calling BP sickness, is what they're
Well, as you know,
calling.
we handled the aspect of this case against BP. We were the lead lawyers in the BP case in general, which was to try to get this ecosystem cleaned up a little bit, to try to get business owners money that they'd lost as a result of this. And we learned a lot. We learned that this company, BP, knew about the risk of aplastic anemia relating to the chemicals that they were using to clean this up. I want to give a shout out to the lawyer. I don't know him. His name is David Durkee. I'm not endorsing him. I don't know. He's with the Downs Law Group. He's handling these cases, and he's saying he sees the same pattern. He sees respiratory issues. He sees bowel issues. He sees neurological issues. And the truth is, BP has taken a scorched earth position. We're going to fight it out. No, we're not going to settle with anybody. Out of all the thousands of cases, they've settled one case. And, and they come out, as you say, with the ad campaign, we're your neighbors.
Yeah.
Touchy-feely, let's have a puppy run across the screen. Let's little babies in the background. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
And people buy into it, man.
They really do. And we understand, and I wish I could tell people, like really explain it to you, the stench that we lived with.
Oh, yeah.
You'd walk outside our office here, you'd walk outside your home, because we both live very close to the water here. The smell would just punch you in the face every time you open your doors. When you're driving in your car, that smell, that chemical smell was out there. And my wife was pregnant while this was happening. My daughter was born with very severe asthma, very severe eczema, and allergies of all kinds, something that my other children do not have. Now, I don't know if it's related, but
well,
there's
some relations, because you got people dying of all kinds of problems here. And so, the point is, what they're trying to do is wear these claimants down.
Yeah.
They're deposing them for 2 days. They're trying to go through all their medical history and say, yeah, this went wrong, that went wrong.
Yeah.
And it's just what they do. These silk stocking corporate thug lawyers they'll do anything for the right amount of money. It doesn't matter. The side doesn't matter. The equity doesn't matter. The fairness doesn't matter. Just pay me enough damn money and I'll do anything. These big corporate defense firms. And that's so they've sicked these lawyers on them, and they're trying to wait till a lot of them die. Because you understand, when they die, the case is worth less.
Yeah,
right?
that's always the strategy here.
Yeah.
Like, if we wait it out long enough,
they'll die.
We know that this, what they're calling again, BP illness, is going to take them out.
They actually have a name for it. It's called the Gould defense. Let's do this so long that everybody dies, and it lessens the amount of money we have to pay. Victims of Jeffrey Epstein have reached a settlement with banking giant J.P. Morgan. These women have sued the bank for allowing Epstein to traffic girls right under their nose, even though the bank was given constant warnings about this behavior. Now, people don't understand this story. They don't understand what the connection is. Let's lay out that connection, J.P. Morgan's enabling of this guy right here.
Yeah, so what happened is, obviously, when Jeffrey Epstein is paying these women and paying other people to recruit these women, he's not swiping his debit card, he's not writing a check. So what he would do, because he had these connections at the bank, including Staley, who I believe was the president for a
Staley
time.
ran his secret account, so to speak.
So Epstein would go take out huge sums of money that immediately should raise red flags. And they did at the bank. They raised the red flags, but so that he could pay these people off. And starting in 2006, you had banking employees going to the higher ups and saying, we believe this money is being used for illegal activities.
Well, they were actually flagging accounts. You understand? There was they actually said, we're going to flag this because it doesn't look right. The way it's moving through, look, this happened after he had already been convicted.
Right.
Convicted of predatory activity against teenagers. He's raping teenagers, and down in South Florida, his pals let him go. The judge let him go. The prosecutors let him go. Everybody that let him go, by the way, was tied up to big organized Democratic money. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all tied to Democratic money, and this guy was a big Democratic donor, but J.P. Morgan just acted like it wasn't a problem. They knew there was a problem here, but they ignored it, right?
Yeah, because Epstein was sending them clients. That was part of the deal he had worked out with Staley was, listen, because Staley knew exactly what was going on. You cannot convince me otherwise. I mean, I think that much is pretty clear.
I think you're right.
So he said, Staley, listen, I'll send you all these big name clients. You know me. I know people with money. You want money. You're a bank. I'll send them your way. How about that, buddy? Doesn't that sound great?
I'm a little disappointed in David Boies settling this for $75 million. This case was worth a lot more than $75 million all day long. As a matter of fact, the U.S. Virgin Islands, folks in charge down there, they're still proceeding against him. They still have the documents. They know that J.P. Morgan was allowing all of this to happen. And, so they're not going to abandon it. And I can promise you, they're not going to settle for $75 million.
Well, and I will say, too, the thing that disappoints me about the settlement in general is
quiet.
Just everything goes quiet. Now we don't get to know. These women know what men were there.
Right.
They know which high-profile people in this country were coming and abusing them, and they're not going to be able to tell us. And at the heart of this entire Epstein drama is those men. Like, he's an animal. He was absolutely a horrendous person. But there's other ones that are out there in this country today running businesses, running politics.
They were all in the game, man.
Yeah.
He was just the leader of the game. This is how he influenced people. First of all, he would create, this is something that he could go after them with. If they didn't do what he said, he could say, I got pictures of you. I got pictures of you and teenagers. And oh, by the way, I'll let them go if you don't allow me to do this, if you don't do this for me. And he had all that and so the idea of keeping that quiet is such a disservice. Yeah. And I know these women probably wanted to get over with. I know David Boies, I mean, you certainly can't settle the case without the permission from your client to say, I'd like to make this public. I don't know what happened there. I can't speak to it, but it's a big mistake, isn't it?